Hi, welcome to this week's Monday class. For today, all you need will be a bolster for the end of the practice and 2 blocks. Of course, if you don't have them, we can always modify. So we are going to start in child's pose, balasana. Toes touching, knees out wide. Depending on the trimester, you might be able to put your forehead to the floor. If your bump is getting bigger like mine, it might be more comfortable to have a block underneath the forehead. The important thing is that you feel that your bump baby has space, and then hands can be just forward, and just try to see if you can maybe gently move the forehead side to side. This is just a nice way to help relax the whole body. In the middle of the forehead, we've got the vagus nerve or wandering nerve that kind of runs from the brain all the way to the gut. And as we gently put pressure onto this point, it sends the body into a very relaxed state. And so if they aren't already, perhaps see if you can close your eyes, connecting to your breath, to sensations. That might even be your little baby moving inside. But so whatever you can, gently rest your attention on, staying there as you try and deepen a little bit your inhale and your exhale. If for whatever reason child's pose doesn't feel good, you can simply come and do this awareness practice, this breath practice, sitting back onto the heels. But otherwise, lengthening the inhale, lengthening the exhalation. Noticing if you can really connect to your breath around the rib cage, and visualizing with every inhale the rib cage broadening, expanding. And as you breathe out, the rib cage relaxes back towards the midline. Keep the jaw relaxed. Maybe allowing the tongue to gently release from the roof of your mouth. The next time you breathe in, slightly lift yourself up off the block if you were using a block, and then let's walk the hands over to the left, reaching the right hand a little further forward, and then gently just relax back towards the ground, even though you're not touching, and feel in this way that with the right hip, you're really trying to keep the right hip back as you reach the right fingertips forward, giving a nice big stretch through the right flank, opening through the rib cage, intercostal muscles, creating a bit more space for yourself to breathe, creating more space for baby. And then slowly walk back through center. We're just going to change side, walking hands towards the left, reaching the left towards the right, and reaching the left hand a little further forward, whilst at the same time trying to keep that left hip back, increasing that range of motion on the left side. Keep breathing here. And the next breath out, walking back through center. Let's come onto hands and knees and reach the left leg back. Keep the toes to the ground. Start to press the left heel back. Feel that you're hugging baby towards the spine here. So we're activating our core. Hands are engaged, fingers nice and spread. feel that you're also toning the front thigh. Breathing here. Inhaling, softening. Exhaling, hugging baby to spine as you draw that left heel back. One more time. And then keep hugging baby towards the spine. We're going to send the right heel back. Just stay for a breath or two, and then slowly release left knee back to the ground. And so here we're just doing that same thing, stretching the back of the calf. You're pressing the right heel back, getting a nice calf stretch. Inhaling, thinking of expanding. Exhaling as you hug gently baby towards the spine. Keep stretching the right heel back. Doing that 3 more times. And then the next time you breathe out, again, let's come just for a moment through plank and then release both knees to the ground. You're going to have the knees maybe a little wider, fingers also a little wider, and we're going to circle the hips in one direction. Feel free to close the eyes here and just move in a way that feels quite freeing without attaching any importance to the shape or the movement that you're doing. But as long as we try to invite this fluid quality, a watery quality to the movement. Making sure that you are breathing as we oil up the hips, the shoulders. At the same time, relieving any pressure that you might be experiencing around the sacrum and lower back, as all of baby's weight now is in front. And then we'll change direction whenever you're ready. Noticing how it feels to move in this way. Keep gently hugging baby towards the spine to support the lower back. Lovely, and coming back through center. So if your wrists need a little break, feel free to come and clasp the hands together and just circle your wrists a few times in both directions. And otherwise, you come back to all fours. Option, if your wrists are a bit sensitive, to come into gorilla fingers, so you could bring the hands together and just with the thumb press, and that will just give you just a bit more strength in the wrist. So you've got 2 options. Okay, from here, I'd like you to visualize the rib cage just like a barrel, and we're going to try and move the rib cage maybe over to the right and then circle it down. So we're arching into the back, and then move the rib cage over to the left, and then press into the hands round into the upper spine as you gaze towards baby. And so we continue. So you can go quite slowly, and then if you feel like it's starting to move with a bit more fluidity, invitation as always to close the eyes, connecting with the body, with the movement, how it feels. And then we'll pause and change direction with the circles. So again, you might want to start quite slowly and then increase a little the speed of this movement. back through center. Okay, let's just take a moment to come into downward facing dog. Pinky fingers coming just off the edges of the mat, and then let's bring the toes a little wider than you would. So engage the arms, hug baby towards the spine, hover the knees off the ground, feel that you're pressing the heels back, feel the strength here through the body as you start to send the hips back and up into your Ardha Mukha Svanasana, downward facing dog. We're pressing the hands forward, trying to wrap the armpits under, and then just pedaling one leg out and then the other. And so in your pedaling, just moving slowly. If downward facing dog is not a position that's suiting you today, feel free to just continue on all fours to lengthen one leg back and then the other to stretch and release the back of the legs. But otherwise, in your dog, playing here with that extension through the back of the legs, keeping the crown of the head relaxed. Lovely. And then gently roll forward, just through a plank, press the heels back, and then knees to the ground. Right arm reaches up as you breathe in. Exhaling, threading the arm behind the left as you release top of the shoulders, side of the right face. And so a few options here. You could keep the left hand in front of the face. You could walk the left hand forward on the mat, creating a bit more length. You're sending the left hip back. Breathing here, opening through the upper back, stretching the shoulder. You can either stay here if you'd like to go a little further. You could reach the left leg back, keep flexing the foot, press the left heel back, feel the whole toning of the left leg. And again, maybe you stay here. Maybe as you really root the left fingertips into the floor and the back of the right arm, you can steadily and slowly lift the left leg up. You're keeping to your breath. You might do a little roly-poly on your back, and that's okay. And then we're just coming back slowly, mindfully into the position. If your leg is lifted, we're now going to slowly bring the knee back down. Left hand comes back in front of the face, press into the left hand, back to all fours. And we're going to do exactly the same thing on the other side. Left arm floats up as you breathe in. Exhaling, threading the left arm behind the right. Placing the side of the face to the floor, sending the right hip back. Maybe right hand reaches forward, rooting the fingertips into the floor. You're rooting the back of the left arm to the floor. And maybe you stay here. Maybe you'd like to go a little further and extend the right leg back. Keep initially the toes connected to the ground as you first engage through the quadriceps, pressing the right heel back. Connect to your core, gently hugging baby to spine. And then again, maybe last option, lifting and hovering the leg up slowly. Noticing how the balance shifts, making sure you're not holding the breath, but that you're breathing. If the leg is lifted, gently bringing it back to your mat. Right hand in front of your gaze, pressing into the right hand, coming back to all fours. We'll do a few rounds of cat-cow here. So as you're breathing in, as you draw, as though you're trying to draw the hands back towards the knees, open the gaze forward, relax the shoulders away from the face. We're not trying to arch too much the lower back. And then as you breathe out, it's as though you're trying to press the hands forward, gazing towards baby as you feel the space between the shoulder blades expand. So let's do that a few times. Breathing in, hands draw back, relaxing the shoulders away, trying to think of lengthening the spine. Exhaling as you round baby towards the spine. So you're just doing that, matching your breath and movement. And then we come back through center. Coming back to Ardha Mukha Svanasana, downward facing dog. So pressing the seat back and up, finding that length through the spine, keeping a soft bend in the knees if you need to, really thinking of sending the hips back and away. And then we're going to lift, just hover the right foot off the ground, bend into the right knee, try and really root through the left heel here, maybe open the right knee out, and we're going to circle the right knee a few times in one direction. Try and keep both arms working evenly, and then 3 times in the opposite direction. Keep breathing. Re-extend, even up the hips, gaze forward, and then exhale, slowly step the right foot to the outside of your right hand. You might need your right hand to assist, and that's totally okay. We're going to release the left knee to the ground, maybe using the blocks here. So feel free to have higher setting, medium setting, or hands to the floor, of course, if you're just in your first or second trimester. And then as you breathe in, slowly think of softening the hips forward and down whilst keeping the tailbone releasing down. And so from here, in this low lunge, really thinking of how to grow tall with the spine, relaxing the shoulders either side. The legs are still engaged here. Inhale. And then exhale, we're starting to straighten into the front leg. You might want to keep the blocks here or bring them closer, really up to you, however you feel more stable. We're flexing the right foot, keeping the right hip back, left hip forward as you fold. Inhale, coming back into Anjaneyasana, low lunge. Exhaling as you send the hips back, straightening the right leg, flexing the right foot. So just move again, your breath. The exhale, you could be breathing out through the mouth, through pursed lips, inhaling through the nose. Two more. Lovely, let's come back forward here and just hold. We're going to hold into our low lunge. So you can, of course, stay high up on your blocks. You might want to come onto your hands. You might want to come onto your forearms. You could also have your forearms onto blocks if that feels better. So wherever you would like to be, making sure that you're honoring how your body feels, you're not trying to push too much. And remember that in pregnancy, where we've got this hormone called relaxin, which is going to do what it says, relax your muscles, your tendons. So as a rule of thumb, we're never going past the sort of 70% of what we can do. So using satya, truth, inner truth, and just coming for the next few breaths to a place that you can hold comfortably with ease, where the facial expression is relaxed, the breath is smooth. These are also really lovely movements to do for birth prep, to really allow the hips to be a bit more relaxed, a bit more open, a bit more mobile. And I find that especially now that I've started my 3rd trimester, my legs just need the stretch. I'm getting a lot of I've lost the word, spasms in the leg, especially in the calves and at night. And so all these movements help to release it. Okay, so from here, slowly rising. Okay, so again, you might want blocks, especially if you're in your third trimester. I would recommend having a bit more height. Now we're going to move the right foot really off the mat, toes turn slightly out, maybe 20, 30 degrees, and then we're going to start to circle the right hip in one direction. Again, we're breathing. The circles don't need to be big. This is really just about releasing into the hip and socket, allowing the synovial fluid to be released inside the joints, creating space, helping with any lower back pain. A nice way also to help baby come down. And at the same time, baby's getting a really nice hammocking sensation. So everyone's happy. And then we'll change direction, moving probably in the less familiar way. And again, just noticing how that feels. Remembering you can close your eyes and experience the sensation more clearly, more vividly. Lovely. Coming back through center, let's toe heel the right foot back onto the mat. Remove just your blocks for a moment, hands to the floor, engage pelvic floor and baby towards the spine as you come back with the right knee into all fours. We come back just for a moment through Ardha Mukha Svanasana, downward facing dog, toes tucked under, hovering the knees off the ground, sending the hips back and up. And then whatever you need to do here, you could either stay and hold your downward facing dog, you could pedal out the legs, or you could also come into this little flowing sensation as you open forward into plank, and then knees hover as you send the hips back and up, a bit like a little wave here. Doing that one more time if that's what you chose to do, and then back through downward dog. We'll all meet in our Ardha Mukha Svanasana. And then as you root the right heel down, slowly extend and lift the left leg up, bend into the left knee, open the left knee out, and we're circling 3 circles in one direction. Keep both arms strong. And then 3 circles in the opposite direction. Coming back to neutral hips, extend the left leg back, look between the hands as you slowly draw the left foot to the front of the mat. You could have blocks if you need to. Right knee releases down. If you are with a belly a little bigger, I'd advise, well, I would suggest having blocks underneath the hand just for space. As you breathe in, we're releasing, softening the hips forward and down, keeping the tailbone released down towards the earth, opening through the sternum, through the heart, shoulders relaxed, chin down. And just taking a moment here just to feel that release. Jaw is relaxed, tongue released from the roof of your mouth. And then when you're ready on the next exhalation, starting to send the hips back, straightening the left leg, flexing the left foot as you bow down. Inhaling as you open, Anjaneyasana. Exhaling, sending the hips back, straightening the front leg, feeling that really nice release into the back of the left leg. Remember to flex the left toes, so toes towards the shin as you breathe out. It just helps to find more release, more stretch into the back of the leg. Do that 2 more times. And then coming back forward, Anjaneyasana as we hold here. Again, creating space through the chest, feeling the breath as you breathe in, that expansion sideways, as though you're feeling the rib cage press out into your upper arms. And then as you breathe out, a sense of softening, maybe breathing out through the mouth, sighing out, whatever sound you need to make. Lovely. And then we're going to be coming a little further down if that feels right. So you could stay upright and just hold for a little longer. You could place your hands to the floor. Maybe you've got a bit more space. Feel free, as we did, to come and place your forearms on blocks or on the floor if your belly still allows it. And again, wherever you have decided to come, trying to soften the facial expression, come back to the breath, allow all the muscles in the body to relax. Maybe focusing on the coolness of the inhale through the tip of the nose as you breathe in, and then its warmth as you breathe out through the tip of the nose. You could also be working with an internal mantra, maybe repeating to yourself, "My body was made to birth my baby. My body was made to birth my baby." Taking one more deep breath in, long exhale out. If you're on your forearms, making your way back onto the hands, and then in using your blocks underneath the hands, we're going to toe heel the left foot off the mat, toes turned out, and then start to circle the left hip in one direction. And so you'll notice that this side probably feels very different to the right side. And again, there's no judging here. We're simply observing with curiosity how the body moves today, how we experience the body, paying attention as closely as we can. Paying attention to our breath. And then changing direction with the circles. Lovely. And back through center. Let's toe heel the left foot back onto the mat. Place your blocks to the side, hands to the floor. Tuck the right toes under. Gently hug baby towards the spine, pelvic floor up. And then step back into your Adho Mukha Svanasana, downward facing dog. Whatever movement you need to do here, if you need to take a child's pose, of course, take a child's pose. But otherwise, maybe just pedaling the legs out again. And then you're going to soften the knees and just start to walk the hands back towards the feet. Feel both feet grounded, bend in the knees, placing one forearm and then the other on your thighs. Engage your glutes. And then with a nice straight back, starting to press into the feet, lifting up into your standing pose. So we're going to walk to the front of the mat here. Have the feet a comfortable distance apart. You could have them hip width or a bit wider. Hands on the hips, soft bend in the knees, and we're just going to start with a little infinity loop with the hips. And so again here, stressing that the knees are relaxed. We're trying, as always, to invite a watery quality to the movement. Cradling baby, maybe, again, the opportunity, hands on belly. Eyes can be closed, just gazing softly on the ground. This is just a nice movement to do at any point. I sometimes do that if I'm having to cue somewhere. As you're pregnant, it really doesn't matter. People kind of almost expect you to do funny things. And then let's change the direction of the infinity loop, the figure of 8. Nice. Okay, so from here, we come back through center. So we're at the top of the mat. We're going to do a bit of a standing sequence. Just quite good to strengthen the legs here, still working with our core. So we're going to keep the left foot forward, and as you hover the right foot, just already feel the balance, feel the foot, all around the ankle, the stabilizing muscles trying to keep you steady. Hands could be on the hips. You could have your hands in prayer, pressing the hands together to start to activate a little bit the abdominal belt. And then with a soft bend in that left leg, we're trying to reach the right toes back. And again, just check here, maybe slowly looking back, if your feet are a good hip width distance apart, that the right foot is not on the same line as the right, that you kind of have that nice platform for balance and to avoid creating tension in the sacroiliac joint. So again, from here, soft bend in the left knee, we're pressing the right heel back. Just a nice opportunity again to get a nice stretch here. And then you might want to bend, just play around, just bending that right knee and release the tailbone down. That should give you a nice stretch also in the front of the right thigh. And then if you can keep the pelvis in this way, start to straighten the back leg. Okay, so we're in our high lunge here, reaching both arms forward and up, pinky fingers turned in. So 2 options. If you're like, okay, this is already working quite a lot, feel free to stay here. If you'd like to just go a little further, we're going to inhale and bend the elbows and back knee hovering off the ground, and then exhale, strong legs as we extend through both legs. Inhaling, cactus arms, right knee hovers down. Exhale, power in the legs. So again, remembering you're either moving or you're just holding your high lunge. You can mix a little bit of both. Last 2. Last 1. Lovely. And then from here, we're releasing, coming to prepare for Virabhadrasana 2, Warrior 2. So again, feet are hip width distance apart, back thigh internally rotating as we externally rotate front thigh. With this in mind, opening your wings out, reaching the fingertips, active through the fingertips. The arms are strong here. Turn the left palm up. Inhale, reverse warrior. And then exhale as you come forearm onto the thigh, reaching the right fingertips forward. And as you're doing that, you're rethinking of rooting through the outer step of the right foot. Keep that left thigh externally rotating, so pressing that left knee out, making sure it's not falling in. And we're going to move in a little bit faster. So breathing in, reverse warrior. Exhaling as you come forearm to your thigh, reaching right hand up. So move in your own time with the breath, keeping the legs strong, Do that 2 more times before we hold. Breathing in, breathing out. Last time, reverse warrior. Exhaling, extended side angle pose. And then, so we're keeping the left forearm on the thigh. Press into the forearm. Think of really opening here through the left shoulder. And then with the right arm, we're just going to circle 5 big circles in one direction. Keep the breath flowing. And then once you've done 5 in one direction, changing direction. Lovely, coming back through Viratu. Extend the front leg, so feel that toning. And this is where you might want to use a block. We're going to prepare for Trikonasana triangle pose, reaching the left hand forward and then swiveling down, placing the left hand onto the block and press into the block, reach through the right fingertips. Keep opening external rotation of the left thigh. And you don't need to gaze up. You can do that, but if you feel any pressure in the neck, either gaze forward or even look down at the foot. Just feel here that opening through the rib cage. Create space with every inhale. A softening on the exhale. Legs are engaged, both legs. Crown of the head reaching forward, tailbone reaching back. Taking one more deep breath in. And then the next time you breathe in, bend into the front foot. Come back through warrior 2. You're going to lift the back heel, swivel onto the ball of the back foot. Lovely. Hands come forward. And then, again, maybe using your blocks if you need them. You might want to hop the back foot a little closer. Just come back onto my mat. So we're going to prepare for warrior 3, Virabhadrasana 3. So left toes spread, hands either on the hips, maybe hands in prayer, or as I said, you could use your blocks for support. We're going to straighten the back leg, have an internal rotation in the back thigh as you lift the back leg up. So you could use your blocks. We're not dumping all the weight here. Engage your core, hug baby towards the spine. You could have your hands in prayer. And again, just here, feel maybe the wobble. Hands could be reaching back. Breathing here. Another few breaths. And then slowly bringing the right foot forward, Tadasana. Close the eyes, hands on hips, soft bend in the knees. And just find a few circles with the hips in one direction as the breath comes back to become a little quieter, maybe feeling the heart rate in your chest, your heart beating in your chest rather, and then change direction with your circles. Lovely. Come back to center, placing your hands on baby. Think of releasing the tailbone down, relaxing the shoulders, chin ever so slightly cast down, keeping length in the back of the neck. Coming back to your breath, trying to lengthen the exhalation consciously. Last breath in this way. Lovely. Feeling your eyes open, and we're going to do the other side so that we're not lopsided. So this time starting with the right foot on the ground, anchoring it, spreading the toes, starting to lift the left heel, maybe hands are on the hips, lifting the left foot off the floor. First, finding your balance, noticing already if one side felt a lot more stable. My right side definitely feels a lot more stable today. And then with that, we're starting to send the left leg back. Left leg is strong here. We're not carrying dead weight. We're activating with using energy, bending into the right knee, and then seeing if you can step very gently to a high lunge. And again, you're just checking that your feet are not on the same line. You've got at least hip width distance apart. Pressing the left heel back, reaching the hands up and over. So we're in a high lunge. Remembering to avoid the lower back getting crunched, you're maybe bending the knee, thinking of releasing the tailbone down, finding that stretch, and then seeing if you can, maintaining the pelvis in that way, straighten the back leg. Just keep your gaze at one point either in front of you on the horizon or on the floor for a little more stability. Just breathing here. And then you can stay here. Of course, if the hands lifted just doesn't feel too right, you could have hands in prayer or hands on the hips. Or you can come into the dynamic version as you're breathing in, back knee hovers, arms in cactus, exhaling, power through the legs as you straighten both legs. Let's do that 4 more times. Breathing in, breathing out. Last one. From here, we open into Virabhadrasana 2. So internal rotation of the back thigh, external rotation of the front thigh as you bend the knee, making sure that the knee is not rotating in. The knee is over the ankle, reaching the hands out wide. Feel both legs. Oh, hello, little baby. He's kicking a lot. Feeling both hands reaching in opposite direction. And then right palm reaches up. Inhale, reverse warrior. So in your reverse warrior, whether the left hand is hugging baby or on the back of the leg, thinking of creating that space. And then exhaling, right forearm onto the right thigh as you reach the left arm over the head. And again, we're remembering here the back leg is your anchor, rooting through the outer step of the back foot. So let's make this a little more dynamic. Breathing in. Breathing out. Last one. Holding here. Again, making sure that the right shoulder is free and spacious. And then with the left arm, 5 juicy circles in one direction. And then 5 in the opposite direction. Making your way back through your warrior 2. Straighten that front leg, engage through the quads. If you used a block on the other side, making sure your block is there. We're reaching the right hand forward and then swiveling, placing delicately the right hand onto your block, reaching through the left fingertips. And again, remembering that external rotation of the right thigh, gazing wherever feels good for the neck. I'm choosing to look down today. Feels quite good, a bit more spacious. Keep spreading the toes. Both legs are anchoring you, both feet are anchoring you. And then you're connecting to your breath, noticing where you feel the breath most clearly. Taking one more deep breath in. As you breathe out, bend into the front leg, come back through warrior two. We're going to lift the back heel, swivel onto the ball of the back foot. Maybe it comes a little closer. And so here we're preparing for warrior three. So if you use the blocks, just make sure that they're at the front of your mat. Either you're coming into it in this steady way, but if you feel that the back foot is a bit too far, just hop it a little closer. Engage, tone the back leg, feel the whole abdominal belt engage, pressing hands gently together, and then lifting that back leg up. And again here, trying to think of internal rotation of the lifted leg. You're only going as far down as the leg lifts. Arms, however, feels more stable for you. And let's hold for another 3 to 4 breaths. And then slowly bending into the standing leg, placing the left foot down, maybe just moving the hips side to side. Feel free to come back into either circles or figures of 8 with the hips, whatever feels yummiest. Eyes can be closed, allowing the breath to slow down, changing direction with your circles or figures of 8. Lovely, and then back through center. We're going to come into Malasana, so toes out, heels in. If you need a block, of course, using a block, hands in prayer, and then slowly making your way down. So you could use a block to support yourself. The important thing is that you don't feel like your upper back is rounding, that you can really create space. So either with or without, elbows gently pressing out into your thighs, thighs hugging back into your elbows. Relaxing here, softening the jaw. And we're just going to do a little pelvic floor exercise here. So just in preparation for birth, and you can really start this at any time during your pregnancy. And what we'll be doing is, as you're breathing in, you might feel the pelvic floor muscles gently gathering towards the center and up. And then as you breathe out, a sense of just release. We're not forcing. As you relax the pelvic floor muscles, visualizing maybe a flower, your lotus flower releasing down and blossoming. Inhaling, petals close, maybe gently lift up. And then exhale, we're not forcing, but releasing and blooming. So if you can work with that visualization just for the next minute. We want, when we're pushing baby out, try and relax that area. So once we move into the postnatal phase, once baby is born, we'll be going back to the opposite way of breathing and working with the pelvic floor. But here for birth prep, on the exhale, we want to work with that idea of relaxing, releasing, softening. Last 3. Lovely. Opening the eyes if they were closed, placing the hands behind you. Sitting bones come to the ground. Let's have the feet quite wide, just hands behind. Just going to do a few windscreen wipers here. When you're moving to the left with your right knee, you're thinking of releasing, rooting the right knee forward and down. When you come over to the right, the left knee roots forward and down. A few more times, side to side. Lovely. Back through center. So you're on the long edge of the mat. We're going to keep the left knee bent, opening through the right. You might use either blocks. You could also actually have your bolster for this. So if you have a bolster, you're placing it to the inside. If you've got blocks, you could just place your blocks again to the inside. So as we gently turn to face your right extended leg, again, the foot is flexed, toes towards the shin. Lovely. Think of lengthening through the tailbone and then just coming further forward. So as you can see, I'm not going over the leg. We still want, especially as your baby grows, creating space. So we're just coming forward, and maybe your forearms can come and rest on your bolster. The important thing is that both sitting bones are nice and anchored. You're feeling that stretch, and wherever you are, even if you're very high up, you feel the stretch, but it's comfortable. You can still breathe. And you're thinking each time as you're breathing in of the expansion outwards, especially in the rib cage. How can you feel the rib cage 360 degrees when you breathe in? And then just allow that relaxation, the softening as you breathe out. Taking 3 more breaths here. And then we'll slowly lift up a little bit. And then think of rotating your rib cage over to the left, maybe placing the right forearm on your bolster or on your blocks, and then reaching the left arm out and up. And maybe place, I quite like it, the hand to the back of the skull, supporting the head, and at the same time you're getting this really lovely opening on the left side. Breathing here. Lovely. Slowly release the hand, come back up. We're going to go to the other side. So if you were using your bolster or blocks, placing them to the other side. Okay, so again, starting by feeling the spine lengthen, maybe gently rotating towards the extended leg, flexing the foot, and then just walking the hands forward, keeping the spine long initially, making sure that the right sitting bone this time is nice and anchored, and then maybe just placing the forearms on your bolster. Another option, which I should have said on the other side, is to use your bolster in this way, just especially if you kind of feel like you're not enjoying going down as much. This is a really nice way to support the weight of the head and your upper body. So whichever variation, if you're on your forearms, you could use your prayer hands just to support your forehead. So wherever you decide to be today, taking the next 3 breaths with as much awareness as you can. On the next exhalation, we're lifting ourselves up, gently rotating towards the right, maybe placing the left forearm either on your leg, maybe on your bolster or your blocks. You could have them also behind the leg, so any variation where you feel comfortable, you feel like you've got space, and then you're reaching the right hand all the way up, out, and placing the hand to the back of the skull, opening through the armpit, through the intercostal muscles, and the right side of the flank. Breathing here, creating space with every inhale, sense of ease, of softening with every exhalation. Lovely. And re-extend through the right hand, gently rise up. And to finish with this, we're going to come into our wide leg forward fold. So if you have your bolster, this is where I would definitely recommend having the bolster in front of you so that, again, legs engaged, feet flexed, and then just placing the forehead onto the bolster wherever you feel it. So you could stay quite high up here. If you'd like to go further down, of course, going further down, you could just use your bolster in just lots of different ways. But you could be using bricks so that you can come a little further down. So again, choose the option that suits your body today. Remembering there's no competition. It's literally about inviting and moving the body in a way that is going to release all the aches and pains, induce a sense of ease, of relaxation, making sure the jaw is relaxed, your facial expression is relaxed. Come back to the breath. Notice if the mind keeps wandering, which it tends to do, but when it does, with kindness, with loving kindness, bringing it back to a point of focus, which is the breath, wherever you feel it most clearly, and that will change, day to day, but moment to moment too. And especially during labor, that will be a really important tool to have, to be able to come back to your breath, to notice it, especially in between contractions. And maybe using your birth partner to help you with that, to remind you to be in this moment, riding each contraction, the space between each contraction at a time. Lovely, and then slowly rising up. Okay, placing the hands to the back of the thighs, walking the knees together. And we're going to prepare for our final relaxation here. So if you do have your 2 blocks and your bolster, a nice way is to have one block on the highest setting, vertical, and then the second block on the second setting, horizontal, with your bolster. You want to make sure that the bolster touches your mat and that it feels stable. And then you're going to place your sitting bones touching. That's an important thing so that your lower back is supported. So touching the bolster, hands are on the bolster, and then you're slowly allowing yourself to release. You could come into Supta Baddha Konasana, your soles of feet together, knees out wide, or if you prefer, you could just have your feet wide, knees in, or the legs extended. If you don't have this at home, you could come to lie on your left-hand side with a little pillow underneath your head and maybe a cushion just for your pregnancy pillow so that your top leg and arm can be quite comfortable. So wherever you do decide to rest, Make sure that you have created a little nest, that you're comfortable. If there's any little movement that you need to do, do it, and then see how you can relax. Allowing everything to just melt and release into the support underneath you. Oh, my tummy's moving, little baby's moving. Again, this is just a nice opportunity to connect to baby. Your baby might just be relaxing with you. Maybe you can feel him or her move. Again, in this sense of deep appreciation for what our body is doing, creating life. Trusting the innate wisdom of our body. Connection with your child. If you have the opportunity to stay longer in this Shavasana, please do so. If you need to get moving with the rest of your day or evening, I invite you to take, once again, some more conscious, deeper breaths in and out. Inviting some movement into the fingertips. If the feet were together in Baddha Konasana, gently press the soles of the feet together as they stay in contact with the ground initially, drawing them forward. That's just a nice way to help release into the hip bones. Maybe just tapping the back of the legs a little bit together. And then bending one knee, then the other. Slowly coming over to one side, making sure that your forearm is supporting you. And then making your way to a comfortable seated position. Thank you for having joined me today. I will see you tomorrow for another practice. Namaste.